SGM Loud, the world explained.
Oyagala okumanya ebigenda mu maaso ku nsonga ez'ebyobufuzi mu ggwanga, byanfuna oba embeera z'abantu, twegatteko ku mukutu gwa YouTube gu SGM Loud n'omuweerezaawo Sir Grace Mwesigwa.
Well, welcome to SGM Loud. It's always exciting to have you following, subscribing, and getting information time after time. My name is Sir Grace Mwesigwa, and I'm privileged to talk with Honorable Daudi Mpabulungi Mugereko, the Chairman Board, Uganda Railway Corporations, and former Minister in different positions. Good to have you, sir. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Thank you. Good evening, Ndugu Grace Mwesigwa. I'm delighted that you have been able to reach out to me to talk about libraries. I'm sure you are aware that I'm still very new in the library sector. My appointment came up towards the end of December, but we've started our work, and as you've been hearing, His Excellency the President, he's been emphasizing revival of the library. Sure. Revitalization of the library. Okay. You've heard General Katumba Wamala talking about revitalization of the library. In his capacity as Minister of Works and Transport, he is delivering the right message. Okay. And it's our duty as the board, with the support of management, or management with the support of the board, to ensure that we live up to our mandate and ensure that the library sector is revitalized to the earliest possible.
Well, you've talked about reviving the railway, and Ugandans have heard about railway revival for years. What is different this time?
Well, we went through a difficult stage of concessioning and then revisiting the decision to concession to the private sector or private sector partner. And then government took over and had to get Uganda Libraries Corporation going again. I must say we lost valuable time, but what is really happening ever since government took the decision to play a leading role in reviving the library sector is that we have had to address rehabilitation of the track. The track is the highway on which the locomotives, the wagons, and the coaches move. In many areas, the track had been vandalized. The steels industry depleted the track by vandalizing the steel structures which were on the ground, and people delivered the same for sale as scrap. Now, in many of these places, government has had to hire a contractor to put in place a new library infrastructure. When you move from Kampala to Mukono, you'll find that the entire infrastructure has been laid afresh. It has been totally rehabilitated, given up on steel sleepers. We are now using concrete sleepers, and so on and so forth. But the track is new, and I'm sure it's going to make a lot of difference when it comes to the efficiency of the library sector. Okay. There is ongoing work as we speak for the regarding the section between Mukono and Malaba. There are contractors who are busy working, trying to lay a new track so that when locomotives, wagons, and coaches are moving, they don't run into trouble. They don't cause accidents. Mm-hmm. But there is also work going on between Mbale and Tororo, Mbale, and Kumi up to Lira, up to Guru, because the entire network is supposed to be fully or totally rehabilitated. Okay. Now, you're asking what is government doing about the library?
That is different this time around. Yeah.
They are laying a new track, and we are also in the process of acquiring new locomotives. We are in the process of acquiring new wagons and new coaches to facilitate speedy movement of cargo, to facilitate speedy movement of passengers between various points along the railway system.
Okay.
But you are also aware that there is ongoing work as we speak in regard to the standard gauge railway, starting from Tororo. Compensation of various landowners along the way has been taking place. But also now, construction work has begun in Tororo. The camp housing workers is under construction in Iganga. So there is a lot of activity within the railway sector that is taking place right now, okay. All aimed at revitalizing the sector.
Okay. Honorable Mikelko, is Uganda ready for a modern railway system like other developed countries?
Well, I have told you what is going on. There is the meter gauge railway, which is being...
because there is having infrastructure, yes. And also people appreciating the new development.
But you cannot talk about modernization without talking about that infrastructure. You must talk about that infrastructure first, and then you'll be able to talk about the rolling stock, the locomotives, the wagons, and the coaches. Mm-hmm. Yes. And what the NRM government is doing right now is to make sure that we revitalize the sector so that the meter gauge railway has this rehabilitation program to its benefit, has the acquisition of locomotives, wagons, and coaches to be in a position to serve the public. And I can tell you, most of these are going to be renew in the actual sense of the word. Okay. Some time back, we used to have the steam engine, then replaced by the diesel engine. Now we are talking about a hybrid of diesel engines and electricity. Standard gauge railway is likely to be totally electricity driven. So we are trying to make sure that we are within the expectations of most people, that government is trying to make sure that we have a new and modern railway system.
Speaking to someone,
it takes time to be able to deliver on that one.
Okay.
It takes time. It's not like going to a shop and buying a new car. You go to the car dealers in Nakawa and you get a new car and you drive. No, you have to sit down, plan, undertake the necessary civil engineering works, ensure that the necessary mechanical work is done, come up with the right specifications, get in touch with those who can supply the various components of the rolling stock that you need, and that takes a bit of time. But we are surely on track. We are on the right trajectory in as far as reviving the railway sector is concerned.
Borrowing the knowledge of economics, when you invest in something, you expect returns.
Yes.
And so, speak to an ordinary citizen in Magamaga, Namasiga, Iganga, or any other part of the country. How will the revived railway impact on the lives of ordinary Ugandans?
First of all, the railway moves cargo. And this cargo is produced by the Wananchi. You know, we used to have the Busoga Rope. And the Busoga Rope was very active because the area was producing a lot of cotton, a lot of coffee and maize. And the railway provided the cheapest or most economic means of transportation for these various agricultural commodities. And I can tell you one thing, when you're a landlocked country like Uganda, and you're essentially producing low-value commodities like our unprocessed cotton, unprocessed coffee, and you are putting these on the export market, the easiest way in which to move these commodities and make some money, ensure that you have a return on your investment, is by transporting the same using the library. And that is what the NRM government is trying really to address. So the ordinary farmer is likely to see an increase in the price of his commodities or his commodity, particularly if those commodities are going to be transported to the market utilizing the library, as compared to the road truck system where transport costs are a lot higher than when you use the library.
Well, what message do you have for the critics who claim the Uganda Rail project is moving very slowly?
As I've told you, I've just joined the board, but we've been working around the clock to make sure that there is something visible on the ground. And as chairman of the board, I'm supposed to give strategic guidance to management so that they can be in a position to do what they are supposed to do within agreed timelines. And that's what we are trying to do. There is a time frame we are following. Okay. And I'm sure we shall be able to deliver as per that time frame.
As we come to the end of this interview, talking about transport sector in Uganda, Ugandans have been grappling with congestion on the roads. And so, what is the big vision for Uganda Rail?
No, what is the way forward to clear the congestion on the roads? The way forward is one, to make sure that the library is fully revitalized so that it can be in a position to deliver on its mandate, i.e. of easily transporting cargo, easily transporting passengers. From Jinja to Kampala, you just get on the library and it will take you less than 1.5 hours or so, as opposed to being stuck in traffic jam and takes you 4 hours from Jinja to Kampala. But I must also say that once the library becomes fully functional, gets fully revitalized, the traffic jams that you are seeing on the roads is likely to go down. Okay. Because many people will park their vehicles somewhere in Jinja, go to the library station, get a ticket, get on the library, and go to Kampala. Now, all those motor vehicles that have been plying Kampala-Jinja road, you will not be seeing them because one will not see the need of using or spending so much money and time driving to Kampala. And yet you can be on you can be in a library coach, move. You are meantime writing your papers, reading your papers, communicating with other people without any hassle. So I think once the library gets fully revitalized, you are likely to see a drop in traffic congestion on the roads. 2, cargo. You've been seeing so many trucks, oil tankers and what have you. Once the library gets fully revitalized, the railway wagons will be carrying some of that cargo. They will be ferrying some of the fuel which is now being transported by road from Eldoret to Kampala, from Kisumu to Kampala. All that fuel, we should be in a position to get it on the library. But also, the library is combined with water transport. There are vessels, we have got MV Kawa, MV Pamba on the lake. And what would happen is that you go to Kisumu, you get petrol, you get diesel, get it in a tanker, a library tanker, put it on the vessel, on either ferry or whatever vessel there is, or ship, transport the same to Port Bell, transport the same to Jinja, and instead of having so many trucks moving from Eldoret and Kisumu, you'll be seeing fuel being delivered at the port of Jinja, the port of Port Bell, the port of Bukakata in Masaka. And I can tell you that will greatly ease on the congestion on the roads.
Okay.
And that is one of the reasons why we are trying to make sure that we deliver on our mandate as fast as we can, because one of the solutions to the challenges on our roads, the solution lies in getting the railway working, but also taking advantage of water transport, which water transport is fully linked up with the railway system.
Okay.
Because the tankers that we put on the railway system and are ferried from Eldoret to Mombasa are the very tankers they put in the ships, they put on in the vessels, and they are delivered in Portugal, they are delivered here at the Jinja Pier, and within no time you have been able to get enough fuel to serve so many people within no time.
Well, interesting. Government took steps to start compensating people that are
but I must also say one thing, that this railway, because now we are talking about imported cargo, imported items, the fuel.
We have not talked about the exports.
But there are also exports. We have got the coffee, we have got the tobacco, we have got the minerals, the iron ore, the copper, and so on.
I was getting a little bit worried.
All these are heavy, and the damage they occasion to the roads and the cost of maintenance of the roads is so high, because this is a cargo which should be moving on the railway, which should be moving by water.
Okay.
And I can tell you, the moment the railway sector gets fully functional in the manner that we expect it to, we should not be having iron ore from Kawale, copper from Kasese, and other minerals being transported by road. They will go to the railway system, and that will reduce on the wear and tear on our roads and reduce on the cost of maintenance of the roads.
There was a plan to compensate those that are going to be affected, especially by the revival of the rail line. And so we've had some people benefiting from the process, but also we've had voices of some Ugandans claiming that they have been forgotten or unfairly compensated.
What I know is
as
that
the new chair, what plans do you have to make sure that we do not have voices of some Ugandans complaining about not being compensated?
No, but compensation is a process. It's a process, and you can't jump certain stages. Once it has been agreed that the railway is going to go through this area, the law, our constitution and land law, protect the landowners. There is nobody that will take your land for use of implementation of a public project when you have not been compensated. So those who are feeling uneasy, I want to assure them that it's just a question of time. They will be compensated.
Well,
but they should make sure that the various stages they need to go through valuation and what have you undertaken, and I'm sure they will be able to get their money. My only concern has been that many people are getting hefty sums of money, and they have not been sensitized on how to use this money, how to invest it in other areas in order to improve on their livelihood. Because oftentimes as government compensates people, the view is that this will enable them live a much better life than what they have been living. Unfortunately, quite a good number of them, when they get this money, They are buying cars. They are buying boda. They are marrying several men or several women, and it becomes a problem.
Okay.
And now the expectations of government that this compensation exercise will permit people to graduate into a much better life oftentimes is not met, or we don't see it on the ground.
Okay, well, if you had one promise to Ugandans about the rail sector, what would it be?
Well, that the railway sector is going to be revitalized and is going to address quite a number of major transport hurdles that we have been having, not only for the passengers but also for cargo. And I can tell you, for the passengers, it is going to greatly improve on ease on the road traffic on the part of those who are moving from one urban center to the other to go and work, because it will no longer make sense for one to drive your car from here to Kampala when actually the railway is there, and it can permit you to do a lot of work as you are moving on the way, like it happens in Europe and other places where the railway is fully functional. We should be in a position to become more competitive by moving our goods, our cargo by railway, because oftentimes the charges that are offered by the railway sector are by far much more competitive than the charges that are offered, are required of one to pay when one transports goods by truck on our roads or up to Mombasa. Actually, the cost is likely to fall by more than half once the railway becomes functional.
Okay.
And this will be in regard to commodities which are being moved to Mombasa for export. It will be the same for goods which are moving to Mwanza and Dar es Salaam for export. Equally, those which will be coming into the country. And once there is return traffic, we should be in a position to see that there are greater economies of scale being enjoyed, and this will be translated into lower charges on the part of what Uganda Railways Corporation will be demanding from their customers while they are transporting their goods. Thank you, and I want to say I'm most grateful that you have given me the opportunity to appear on the air and talk about our railway sector. But I also must emphasize one thing. His Excellency the President has been spot on matters of the railway. He has emphasized the railway sector. The railways appears in our National Development Plan for, I think it is up to us now to make sure that we work and we deliver on our mandate. And I want to tell you, we are trying whatever we can to make sure that we live up to your expectations, to the expectations of the greater masses of the people in Uganda.
Thank you so much, Honorable Migeko, for spending time to speak to us.
Thank you.
And so we want to appreciate our partners, Viva College, celebrating 10 years of academic excellency.
Great.
And so they have been moving with a very good motto of great minds shape the world, but also want to appreciate our new partner, the Clubhouse, the Nile Clubhouse, Ginger, at the source of the Nile Hotel. Come and experience luxury to the fullest. I can say luxury defined. Come and have a taste of what is top-notch of hospitality. Ginger, but we feel like in London or New York or any other leading cities in the world. Thank you for watching. We'll catch up next time.
SGM Loud, the world explained.